You're listening to the Learn English Through Football podcast. Hello everyone and welcome to this week's Football Language podcast for learners of English who love the beautiful game of football. My name is Damien and I am in a cold but bright London, and it is the week before Christmas, so people are looking forward to taking a break. What's the weather where you are, listener? And how is the weather in Tokyo, Damon?
Hi there, Damien. Yes, Christmas is just around the corner and it is suitably wintry here in Tokyo. Today is a bit cloudy with a chill in the air. Not a bad day for Christmas shopping.
Unasikiza languagecaster.com.
That message was in Swahili. And yes, you are listening to languagecaster.com, or as we are now known, the Learn English Through Football podcast. What do we have on the show today, Damon?
Well, Damien, on today's show, we will be looking at the African Cup of Nations, or AFCON, and some of the language connected with football competitions, including Dark Horse. After that, we've got two matches for our predictions. The opener, the first game at AFCON, and the Learn English Through Football derby, Tottenham versus Liverpool. Can't wait.
languagecaster.com.
Right, that message we just heard was in Bemba from a fan from Zambia. And of course, Zambia will be taking part in this year's AFCON tournament in Morocco. Zambia are in Group A, along with the hosts, the Comoros and Mali. We'll be hearing from more football fans in different languages throughout the show. I wonder, how many will you be able to recognize? Don't worry, we'll let you know the languages at the end of the show.
languagecaster.com.
Right, let's kick off with our focus on football language and AFCON. Here's Damien.
Right, the main focus of today's football language show will be on AFCON 2025, which starts this weekend in Morocco. Before we look at the favourites, dark horses and minnows, let's have a look at some of the numbers around this year's tournament. There will be 24 teams taking part in this year's tournament, and they will be divided into 6 groups of 4. This means that the top 2 from each group will qualify for the knockout rounds, along with the 4 best third-place teams. So that's the last 16. This is the first time that Morocco have hosted the tournament since 1988. Actually, I was in Morocco at the time and remember watching some of the games in cafes with some very excited fans. Morocco finished 4th in that tournament, with Cameroon winning it after defeating Nigeria in the final. I wonder, will the indomitable Lions do it again this time round? Okay, let's have a look at the venues. Morocco has invested in lots of new stadiums for the upcoming 2030 World Cup, and they have 9 stadiums in 6 different cities for this tournament, which is a far cry from the 1988 edition, which only had 2 stadiums for the 2 groups of 4 teams involved. The favourites. I know that trying to pick a winner before any tournament or competition is difficult, but I think trying to do this before an AFCON is even trickier, as the quality of the teams is so high and anyone could win it. Remember that there have been 7 different winners in the past 8 tournaments. Anyway, let's take a look at some of the favourites. The hosts, Morocco, have won 18 consecutive matches, that's a record, going into this tournament, and they are among the hot favourites to win only their 2nd AFCON title. They finished 4th in the last World Cup, have a great manager and a team full of wonderful players, including Hakimi, for example, so surely They have to be the favourites to win for the first time since 1978. Algeria and Egypt will also be expected to do well. They both went through World Cup qualification unbeaten. Can Mo Salah finally win an AFCON after twice losing in a final? Other teams tipped to do well include Senegal, who won the AFCON in 2021 and impressively qualified for the 2026 World Cup, while they also beat England away last year in a friendly. The defending champions, Ivory Coast, should also be expected to do well after going undefeated through their World Cup qualifiers, while Nigeria will be desperate to win after not qualifying for the 2026 World Cup, and they will be strong going forward with an attack that includes Lookman, Iwobi, and, of course, Osimhen. Dark horses. So, a dark horse in a tournament is a team that is not among the main favourites to win, but with a bit of luck and some good form could do really well in a competition. DR Congo will be one of the dark horses. Recently, they knocked out Cameroon and Nigeria to qualify for a World Cup playoff, while they also reached the semi-finals of the last AFCON, so keep an eye out for the DR Congo. Other sides that could do well in this year's tournament include South Africa, but also Burkina Faso, who have made 3 semi-finals in the past 5 tournaments. And don't forget about Gabon, who had a strong World Cup qualifying campaign before losing out to Nigeria in a playoff. I think they might cause a few upsets. Minnows. The lowest ranked team at the tournament is Botswana, who are 138th in the world, and they will not be expected to get out of their group, which includes DR Congo and Senegal. Zimbabwe failed to win any of their 10 World Cup qualifying matches, and they're in a group with Egypt and South Africa, so it would be a huge surprise if they made it to the qualifying rounds. What about you? What teams do you think will win the 2025 AFCON? How about a dark horse? Who do you think might surprise us? Let us know here at learnenglishthroughfootball.com.
Vous écoutez languagecaster.com.
Okay, let's move on to the predictions this week. And of course, it is the Learn English Through Football derby. That's when Damon's favourite team, Liverpool, travel to play my favourite team, Tottenham, this weekend. Let's hear what Damon had to say.
Well, I'm more positive about Liverpool's chances after 2 back-to-back wins for Liverpool. 1-0 away at Inter in the Champions League and a comfortable 2-0 win over Brighton at Anfield. But away from home has not been great this season, so I'm a bit nervous about travelling. And travelling to London especially. We've lost to Brentford, Chelsea and Crystal Palace in the capital. I'm expecting goals. There have been 21 in the last 3 league games between Spurs and the Reds, most of them scored by Liverpool. While Tottenham have not been in great form, I'm expecting them to raise their game with the visit of Liverpool. They will also fancy their chances against us, as we've been very fragile this season. I think it will be decided by who scores first. Hopefully that's Liverpool and we win 2-0. Damien.
Well, I had a very bad feeling about this beforehand, as there is a bad vibe, bad feeling around Spurs at the moment. We also have a bad record against Liverpool. We were thrashed 6-3, 5-1 and 4-0 last season, and we have a terrible home record this season. So I went for a 2-1 home defeat, and unfortunately I was right, as Spurs caused their own downfall with 2 rather silly sending-offs, 2 silly red cards. So well done, Liverpool, and of course well done to Damon. What about the opening game of the AFCON 2025 tournament? Here's Damon again.
Okay, the Atlas Lions, Morocco, take on Comoros, and on paper, this should be a win for the hosts. However, they have the weight of expectation on their shoulders. Their fans and the whole Moroccan nation expect them to do well, so they will be under pressure to perform. Comoros, on the other hand, come into the game as underdogs. I had a little look at their form and was surprised to see that they beat Ghana 1-0 in the World Cup qualifiers, so they are no pushovers. They're defensively strong and pose a threat on the counter, so will be tricky opponents. Still, it would be a big shock if they beat or even drew with Morocco. I'm going to go for a nervy 1-0 win to Morocco. How about you, Damien?
Yeah, I think it should be a comfortable home win for the hosts. Maybe 2-0.
Hi, my name is Ahmed Adam. I support Al Hilal Sports Club. That's a site from the Sudanese Premier League. And you're listening to languagecaster.com.
And how about practicing your predictions language with us? What do you think will happen in any of the games that you are watching this week? What do you reckon will happen? Will your team have too much for their opponents? Let us know by coming along to our site here or on any of our social media sites. You can find us on Facebook, on X, on Instagram, and many more.
Muri22for22.com lamsop.
And of course, don't forget, we have a huge glossary of football terms with hundreds of expressions, phrases, and cliches about the beautiful game of football. And remember also to tell a friend about us and give us a like on your favorite podcast platform.
languagecaster.com.
Yes, you are listening to the Learn English Through Football podcast, and that message was from a fan in Tanzania. And they will be in Group C with Nigeria, Tunisia, and Uganda. And we also heard Bemba from a Zambian fan, French, and fans from Sudan, Cameroon, and Malawi. So well done if you got any of those correct. And remember, you can add a message by sending us a recording for the Learn English Through Football podcast. We'd love to hear from you.
You're listening to the Learn English Through Football podcast.
Right, let us know if you hear or see any of the phrases or words that we've talked about on this week's show, including dark horses and minnows. Also, how would you say these phrases in another language that you know? Drop us a line at contact@learnenglishthroughfootball.com, and we'd love to hear from you.
Enjoy all the football this week. We'll be back early next week with another weekly football expression. Ta-ra!
Bye-bye.